Hi everybody, I hope you can hear me. I'm sort of testing right now. I don't know if everybody's in the space with me, so if you wouldn't mind just commenting so I know who's there and that you're there, that would be really helpful for me. And while I kind of wait and see who's checking in, I'm gonna smudge a little bit and just get this space cleared. I'm so excited to see you. I hope you can see me too. And I'm gonna start recording. I think actually we are recording. Okay. Okay, if you're there, like I said, if you could just put a quick comment so that I know, yay, Megan's there. I'm gonna smudge you too. Happy birthday, Megan. So good to see you. Hi, everybody. And I'm gonna smudge twice tonight. Again, I just can't tell you how happy I am that it's Saturday and it's 6 o'clock. I've been looking forward to this for so long. I'm going to smudge twice. The second smudge I'm using is Palo Santo. I don't know if you use Palo Santo yourself. Hi, Angie. I'm seeing everybody's comments trickle in, so thanks so much just for checking in. If you don't use Palo Santo and you don't know what it is, I'm just going to tell you briefly. It's a wood from Peru, and a lot of native traditions use it in addition to or in place of white sage. It's easier to get. It lasts a lot longer. This one piece of Palo Santo I've been burning for 6 months. You can see me having a hard time getting it started. It takes a little while. It doesn't burn very long. But actually some people prefer to burn Palo Santo when certain kind of energies are around, when people are sick. My whole family has been sick in the last 2 weeks, so I've been burning the crap out of this one little piece of Palo Santo. But anyway, I'm burning both kinds for us tonight. Just a quick smudge to the 4 corners of my altar space and then to the 4 directions. South, okay. I wish you could smell it. It's a really different smell than white sage. And so if white sage bothers you, if it's just too strong, or maybe your husband doesn't like it. My husband doesn't like white sage, which is ironic given what I do. He's just not a big fan. But the Palo Santo is, it's really sweet smelling. So anyway, I'm just letting you know this is available. I don't have it. Like I'm not, I don't have it even to offer to you, but it's pretty easy to find on the internet. So if you're looking for an alternative to white sage, and again, the elders use it when people are sick. So it's, white sage is about smudging for negative energy and trying to bring in positive energy. Really strict native tradition is that you use white sage to clear negative energy, and you use sweetgrass to bring in positive energy. I don't do that because I don't like sweetgrass. So it's really funny how personal preference really dictates what you use when it comes to your smudging. Okay, so I see everybody rolling in. I'm so glad that Megan's had a good birthday, and I see everybody here. This is awesome, Teresa. You are doing it right. You're in the right place. I don't know if you guys can see each other's chat comments, but just know that I can see them, so that really helps me to know that you're here with me. Okay. So let me tell you what we're going to do tonight, and I sure wish this was two-way video, but that's just too hard with too many of you on the other side of the line. I am going to start having conference calls, though, for us, periodic, probably every other week, and that'll just be optional. I'll just create the space and open a conference line for us to talk on the phone together, because I think we all have some really interesting stories to share with each other, and I would love the opportunity to tell some of my stories and hear some of your stories and just see where the conversation goes. So look for that information to come soon. But I just want you to know that as you're chatting, I can see you. Okay. So the plan for tonight is this. This week is all about aligning with gemstones. I've been having you go in, and I have printed out here. So hopefully the last version that I have represents everybody's gemstones. There are a couple people missing, so if I call your name and tell you that I don't have your stones listed, when I do that, if you would just chat and tell me what your 3 stones are, I would really appreciate it, because I want to make sure that I've got the most current, up-to-date information. So tonight is all about aligning with gemstones, and in service of this shift that we're trying to create with the magical sabbatical and the disruption. You know, I've been using that term a lot. I want to talk to you tonight about what I mean by that. And I hinted at it in the video that I posted this week with the meditation around dialoguing with your vital self. But I'll talk a little bit more now about why I created this experience in the first place and what I hope you're going to get out of the next 6 weeks. And yay, you're seeing comments. Good. I'm glad you can see each other. Feel free to keep that dialogue going, by the way, while I'm talking, because I want you to be able to talk to each other, and I want to see what's on your mind too. But each week we're going to look at a different tool. So this week we're focusing on gemstones. We're going to focus on gemstones next week too, but you won't have a meeting like of this group. You're on your own next week for individual work. And I'll be posting a video with a craft option for you, but you don't have to do that. So if you choose, you can just take the entire week off and focus on your family and work and all the other obligations you have. Or you can choose to do the craft with gemstones that I'm going to be showing you. Lots of people do the craft that I'm going to show you, but I have a unique name and process for it that I've been doing for a long time and I really enjoy, and so I want to share it with you too. So we're gonna do ritual tonight, which is the same process I used for the blue moon. We're gonna open the circle that we're in together, and so that will feel like something to us who are live together, but people who watch the recording afterward are just as able to have that same experience and feeling. So don't feel like you are being left out. And in fact, my experience with doing live work like this, and having people watch it afterward, we are holding them in the space. I mean, I'm very conscious of those who I know are not going to be able to join us live right now, and I'm very much holding you in my thoughts. And so you're present with us, even though you're not literally watching me talk right now. So we're going to open the circle, we're going to do some work, and I'm going to talk to you a bit about gemstones. One thing I really want to emphasize is that there are quite a few women in this group who are brand new to gemstones. Who've never worked with gemstones, who are new to collecting. And then there are women in this group who, and you have seen the pictures online to prove it, I have a bit of gem envy myself, who have extensive collections and are quite knowledgeable. I think one or two of you are even certified through the Hibiscus Moon Crystal Healer course. So in any case, I'm very conscious of the fact that a lot of you are quite experienced. What I want to tell you is the way I'm approaching tonight's discussion is really trying to aim at the middle point. So I don't want to go over the head of people who are not familiar with gems, but I don't want to bore Jen White to call you out, Jen, but I don't want to bore those of you and Zan Carter, who I know are just really, really experienced. There's lots of you who are. Amanda is very experienced and knowledgeable. So in any case, and Angie, all of you come to mind. I know you're very aware of your gems. I'm hoping I'm going to teach you something new, either in the way I talk about the gems, the way I read the energy of the gems that you've chosen. I actually took about an hour and a half today, and I did an individual gem reading for everybody who's in the group. So I'm really excited to tell you the gem that came through for you in the gem readings today. So I'm actually going to read each of your names during this session and tell you what that gem was. And I think you'll enjoy that. That gem has some message for you. So in addition to the 3 that you picked for, to be with you and to be focused on in tonight's session, thanks, Jen. In addition to those 3, the one that came up for you in the individual reading that I did for you today, I think has something to tell you too. And in fact, when I looked at the 3 that you chose next to the one that came up for you in the reading for each of you, it told a story. I think in only 1 or 2 cases was it one of the 3 stones that you had chosen. So that's interesting. And I see that actually a couple of you have mentioned over the last hour to me that your stone choices have changed. That's awesome, because this whole process is invoking your intuition. This whole process is relying on you, really connecting deeply to your subconscious. That's the level at which the stones communicate with you. And so, in any case, I'm excited to see all the progress that you're making and to share something with you that I think will be beneficial. I'm going to talk to you about the 4 ways that I work with gemstones in my own practice. There are dozens of ways to work with gemstones, but there really are 4 that I focus on. And so I want to share those with you. We're going to do a gem meditation. And what I have found in working with women in gemstones for a very, very, very long time, in a lot of different capacities, is that we like to collect them, like they're pretty, and we get excited and we want to acquire new ones, but we don't often spend the time to sit quietly and really listen to what the stones have to tell us. And so I want to talk to you a little bit tonight about the physics of gemstone and crystal healing, and what's behind it, and then how you can really connect more deeply with the stones you already have. So again, a lot of us are collectors, and I think part of the task is how do we really come to appreciate the stones that are already in our collections. And then I'm hoping to do a bit of show and tell, because I have some cool pieces that I want to show off to you, and things that I have chosen to have on my altar space for tonight that have a lot of personal meaning to me. So that's all the work that we're going to do. Remember, in ritual, there's these stages of opening the circle, raising the energy, doing the work with the energy, grounding ourselves then and starting to close down the circle, and then releasing the energy to go and manifest itself. So we're going to do that same process tonight, but it's just going to be a little more focused. Okay. Megan, I hope you are getting the birthday love. We're so happy to be here with you. The collective really wants to wish you a happy birthday, and I hope you've had a really blessed day today. We're blessed to have you in this group, and so it's really fun that we get to celebrate the new moon and your birthday and the initial meeting of this group all at once. It's a really special day. Okay. So I'm going to jump right in. If you have questions as I'm going, I'm going to be tracking the comments and trying to answer those questions too. So feel free to interrupt me. I'm going to go ahead and light my candle. Sometimes I do that at a different point in the ritual process, but I have my magical sabbatical candle, which I haven't lit yet. So really just acknowledging the fact that that I'm doing that. That's an important moment for me. See if I can move it better into view here. Okay, so she's there and she's lit. Okay. Okay. So I want to start by, a couple of you had asked me in recent posts inside the Facebook group about how I came to do this. And so I wanted to share just a little bit more about my background. I realize that some of you know me really well. I'm a really transparent person, and I'm the same person here sitting with you that I would be, you know, sitting having coffee with you somewhere or in a chat room or whatever. I'm a pretty open book, and so you can ask me anything, and I'm, especially in some strings and conversations, I share all. So some of you really do know me quite well, but some of you don't, and so I just want to tell you a little bit more about my background and where I came from and how I came to do this work. I'm the daughter of a woman who has a long matriarchal lineage in this work, and what's really interesting is that that lineage is really old, and in fact we came to learn this year that it's much older than either of us had ever estimated. I grew up with my mother literally being able to levitate and move things, and we had spirits in our house. At one point we had a spirit in our house that we actually had to have a minister remove from the house. He had to come and do a bit of an exorcism, and my mom went and gathered salt and soil and mixed it with water and was making crosses around the entrances and exits to our house, and that was all really normal stuff in my house growing up. Before I was born, my mom was holding seances, and she was an automatic writer. I'm just going to tell you a quick story to give you some color around why this is the work that I do is really, really normal to me, but I realize it's not how everybody grows up. My mom is high school educated. She didn't go to university. She had been holding these seances at her job after hours with a large group of people, and she was doing automatic writing. And so one night she sat and she was doing automatic writing and everybody had left. And the writing that started to come through was in German. And my mom has no formal education and has never studied German before. And so she wrote, I think if I'm recalling it right, it was 2 or 3 single-spaced notebook paper pages of German that she couldn't read. So she knew that my uncle, that her uncle read German, and he'd actually been in a prisoner of war camp during World War II, and she took the papers to him and said, look, I don't know what this is. She didn't tell him what it was, but she said, would you be able to translate it? And he started to read it, and he put it down, and he got really angry with her. And he said, where did you get this? And she said, I just need you to tell me what it says. And he said, no, I need you to tell me where you got this. And it was actually written to him from somebody who had died, who had been a prisoner of war with him during the war. And my mom, you know, he was angry and really freaked out by the whole experience. He never spoke of it again. She hardly ever speaks of it now. But that was really the end for her of her spiritual engagement. She thought that she had taken her powers too far and was really concerned about the fact that she had had a really intense experience. So as I grew up and started to have my own gifts, being clairvoyant and clairaudient, being able to see and hear things and work with gems, my mom was really scared for me, and was always really emphasizing, you know, don't go there. Just, you know, be a good Christian girl and go to church. And I only came to understand it as an adult, really understanding the nature of her experiences early in life before I was born, where that fear came from. And I'm sharing this story with you to take a part of our time here because you know, there really is a reality to the seriousness of spiritual work, and it's very real. And so when we start to engage, there's a reason why I hold us in a circle and I clear the energies and I ground us afterward. You know, we need to just be really aware and recognize that this is serious work that we do, and always be working to stay on the light side of the spiritual experiences. My mom had gifts but did not protect herself or her space, and I think she left herself open and vulnerable. If she was sitting right here with me, she would tell you that's true, and that she recognizes now that you have to do certain things to make sure that the energies coming into your spiritual work are right and positive and on the light side of the spiritual realms. But anyway, it's one of those experiences, like, you can't deny it. And just knowing, you know, growing up and recognizing that no one in my family would talk about that experience, they were so freaked out. You know, it just reinforces how real all of this is, and then the work that you have to do to sort of protect yourself. So Jenny Tutwiler, actually, and Jenny, I don't know if you're in the room, but had asked a question early on about, you know, when you set intentions, how do you kind of protect people? Because they're involved. And so if you're setting an intention that you want to have a new beginning in your marriage, for example, well, that impacts your partner. And so, you know, by definition, you're going to be shifting his experience in that relationship. That's just one example, but my point is, everything we do, every action has a reaction or a consequence. And so I think it's really important that you try as much as you can to focus on you and the essence of your experience. Where you know that the intentions that you're setting are going to impact other people, do your best to make sure that that's in full alignment with not only your highest and best good, but theirs as well. And if it's directly going to impact the experience of someone else in your life, really make sure that you have their permission. When I make medicine bundles, for example, and a lot of people order medicine bundles from me for other people, and I refuse to create them unless I know that they have their explicit permission to do that. So I'm entering into someone else's spiritual space, and I don't have the right to do that unless they're seeking the medicine themselves. And so, anyway, you know, I always try to stay on the light and bright side of things, but I want to mention that we are interacting with other people's energies. There is a darker side to some of the things that we're talking about. You know, I even created an oil in the last couple of weeks called Umbra, and Umbra is about the shadow side, and Teresa just posted, you know, and harm none. You know, really that is our focus, is bringing in what's for our highest and best good, making the full intention that anything we do that impacts anyone else is also for their highest good. And sometimes we don't know what their highest good is, and sometimes we don't know what our highest good is, and so that's where we give it over to Spirit and say, you know, for the highest good of all. which may mean that your manifestation takes a different form than you had expected. But if you set that intention and make that request, the Spirit really will honor that and make sure that everybody's highest good is pursued. Before I go any further, are there any questions about that? On my father's side, I have lots of interesting things going on too. My great-grandmother was a medicine woman in Greece, and we have long lineage back there. And I've actually been told in the last 6 months that some of her tools are still around, that my cousin has them. And so it's just interesting to think about how it's in your genes and in your blood, and it gets passed down to you. So some of you are mentioning a commercial. I think that's sort of a normal part of this, and it might distract you for 2 minutes here or there, but just be patient, and that will end, and then you'll be back with me. Okay. I also want to mention really quickly before we get started on gems, the topic of quantum entanglement. This is the other subject that I wanted to broach as we got into the sabbatical. When we talk about creating a shift, and when we talk about really trying to manifest your highest good and trying to remove some of the obstacles to the intentions that you're trying to set. All of us here in this experience together have experienced it on Facebook now. Our energies are entangled. Quantum entanglement says that, sort of like chaos theory, one thing that I do, anything that I do, impacts all of you because we're in this energetic relationship. It's the same thing in your relationships in your life, in your direct relationships with people you see on a regular basis. But it takes a step further to say that we're all entangled energetically, everybody on the planet. And some theorists would even say that we're entangled in a quantum way with all who are deceased and all the souls who are yet to come into physical form. And so that's what makes energetic work so interesting, and also makes it really complicated. I don't know if you've seen this happen on Facebook. Facebook to me is the most interesting example of quantum entanglement, because you'll see somebody post something and 10 minutes later there's 20 comments on it because it's really sparked a flame with a lot of people, and there's a lot of energy around it and a lot of comments, and people are commenting on comments. And I think to me that's an example of quantum entanglement. But the kind of connection that we establish in a space like this, where, if you've noticed, we have sort of instant intimacy. What's behind that is that our energies are entangling. And so again, there's a real joy in that, because we're all coming to it with the intention that we're going to support each other's highest good. And I'm holding us in a container that's been built really carefully to support that process. And so you're being held really safely in this space. But again, that's, I just want you to know that that's been very intentional on my part, and that's part of the reason why we are safe to explore this process together, as I've created that very, very intentionally for us. Okay, so if you have questions about quantum entanglement, the consequences of intention setting, that is the rule, right? So just keep focused on what's for your highest good, and be mindful of those who are involved in the intentions that you set, and making sure that what you're setting is for their highest good too. And let me know if you have questions about that. Okay. I see that you're having technical difficulties. If my husband's just giving me a note, it says, tell people to deselect Facebook when they go to chat, or it will publish to their wall. Okay, hopefully that's helpful. I know we had some difficulties with this during the blue moon, so deselect Facebook when you go into chat, and it'll keep the comments. Okay. So let's get started without any further ado. So I want to open the circle. I want to have you get very grounded and centered and focused wherever you are. And so if you're sitting in a chair, if you're sitting on the floor, same thing as last time, sit up nice and straight with your palms on your, hands on your knees with your palms facing up. And I'm going to have us breathe together again. If you haven't lit your candle, I would recommend that you do that. And have your oil with you. We're going to anoint again tonight, so make sure that you have your anointing oil with you. So we're going to take 3 really deep belly breaths together, and then we'll get started with the rest of our gem work. So I want you to just take a minute with me, wiggle your toes, just really feel connected to the earth, feel your tailbone, straighten your spine. really give yourself permission to be here and to be really present, to enjoy this experience. I know it's so hard for most of us to carve out this time. I know how precious your time is, so just really let yourself be, let yourself enjoy and relax. And when you're ready, take a really deep breath in and exhale, and deep breath in and exhale, and deep breath in and exhale. Now I want you to imagine with your hands on your knees, your palms facing up. Imagine that you are now interlocking hands with all of the women who are in this group, all of us who have joined this group to be together, all these very powerful women who have set these intentions to create a change in their lives. And really see if you can feel it. I can feel it right now. See if you can feel a hand interlocking with yours. And now imagine that there is that beam of white light that we talked about during the blue moon. That three-dimensional, warm, pulsing beam of white light. And imagine that it's flowing in your left hand, from your left hand, into the right hand of the woman who's sitting next to you, whose hands are joined with yours. I want you to send that beam of light to your left, through the right hand of the person who's holding your hand, energetically, and around this circle that we're creating right now. We're opening the circle together, and we're sending that beam of white light around the world. If Nicole's with us, if Solveig's with us, we have sisters in this experience right now with us in many different parts of the world. Melissa, if you're with us, when you're with us. And so just sending that beam of white light, sending it to Germany, to the Netherlands, to New Zealand, to Massachusetts. It's coming from California and it's spreading everywhere, and then it's coming back to you ultimately. So I want you to imagine that that beam of light is now spreading, and it will come back to you in your right hand. And as you start to feel that white beam of light coming back to you, being sent to you from your sisters around the world through this experience, notice if you're feeling a temperature change in your hands. If you're not, that's okay, but you might feel that your hands are getting warmer. And as that beam of light comes back into your right hand, I want you to allow it to just fill up your being, your body. Let it glow within you. And I'm going to give you just a minute to sit in that light and let that feeling wash over you, that love that comes through this group and that's really active and alive right now in this very moment. And keep breathing. So in about half an hour, we will let that circle go, but we're going to sit in that circle now for the next 25 minutes or so and hold that energy. That's that beam of light that that's connecting us all right now. And hopefully you're feeling that. It's really normal for your hands to tingle. I don't know if you're having that experience, but I always do. I feel like my hands tingle a little bit. Sometimes they go a little numb. So either of those experiences is really, really normal. Okay. I want to, the only other thing I wanted to mention to you in terms of context for tonight, it is the new moon. All of our meetings are going to be at either a new moon or a full moon, and that's really intentional on my part. New moons are hard, and so if you're not familiar with new moon phases and kind of the way they can make you feel, new moons always bring this thrust of pressure, like the pressure to create, the pressure to build something new. It's the beginning of the moon phase, and so there can be some pretty challenging energy around new moons. It's not my favorite time of the month. Some people struggle around full moons because the energy is full, and so it can feel, that energy can feel really heavy too. But for me, the new moons are challenging. It's almost like I feel like I have to go clean my house or do something better than I'm doing it right now, and it feels sort of like a monkey on the back. That's really normal. And so if you're, start to notice how you feel in relationship to these moon phases. If you haven't been sensitive to it before, you might just notice if you're feeling really critical of yourself, and here we are at a new moon in Virgo. I mean, like the uber sign of being critical is Virgo. And so if you're feeling like you're really being hard on yourself, try to release that and release your expectations of yourself right now. It'll just make getting through the next 24 to 48 hours a lot easier. Okay. So I want to talk to you about the 4 ways tonight to work with your gemstones. And then we're actually going to I'm going to show you one and do 2 others of them with you. So, and like I said, there are so many different ways that that people work with gemstones. So just take this is like Athena's Guide to the World, but these are the 4 ways that I've been working with gemstones for a long time. And so the first of those is with meditation. And like I said, a lot of people collect stones, but they don't work with their stones. And a lot of people don't even know how. It's one of the first questions people ask me is, so I got this great piece of malachite, or, ooh, look at my pretty wand. But what do I do with this thing now that I've spent $100 on it, or whatever it is, or even if it's just a small tumbled stone. People's collections start somewhere. Everybody starts with a stone. My kids started with a single tumbled stone that they picked for themselves, and even they had the question of like, so what do I do with this thing now? And so meditation is really important, because meditation is where you give your stones a voice, and we're going to do that together for about 5 to 7 minutes tonight, in just a few minutes. And so I'm going to ask that as I'm talking now for the next couple of minutes about the 4 uses of stones, I want you to pick one of your 3 that you're going to meditate with and give a voice to tonight. Make that a really intentional choice, and I really do want you to choose one, because if you choose 2, those 2 stones might both choose to speak to you, and you won't be able to tell which of those stones is getting a voice. So I know it's hard, especially for those of you who have like 1,000 awesome stones, and then I told you had to pick 3. I could feel you saying, how am I supposed to pick 3? But anyway, I want you to just pick one that you're going to let talk to you tonight. Okay. The second is working with your gems in dream state, and this is a regular practice for me. If you haven't done this, it's a lot of fun. I put stones in my pillowcase, and I do that because if you put it all the way at the bottom of your pillowcase, unless you're like a crazy sleeper, they really don't go anywhere, and it becomes quite fun. I mean, it's how I define fun, but it's fun to choose which stone you're going to take into dream state with you. There are stones, I'll just say really quickly, that I would not take into dream state. Those would be zincite, moldavite, magnesite, tektite. If you're not familiar with those stones, those are sort of the freewheeling. Speaking of zincite, can I just show you something? This is zincite. I don't know if you can see it very well. Zincite is truly an otherworldly stone. You probably will never see anything like this ever again. It's a specimen piece, and zincite comes from Poland. There's a lot of fake zincite on the market. I had a couple pieces for sale at some point earlier in the year. I had 2, I think. And then this one specimen piece. It's the only piece, those are the only 3 pieces I've ever seen in my entire life. But those 4 stones, zincite, magnesite, tektite, and moldavite, really do facilitate astral travel. And so for me in dream state, what that means is that I leave my body, and I've become really aware of that. It's a pretty common thing in my world. Again, if I'm totally freaking you out, I apologize. But astral travel is a very real thing. If you've ever woken up in the morning and felt like you were just coming back into your body, or like you're out of breath, or if you've ever had dreams where you feel like you hit the bed, that's your body, that's your spirit coming back into your body after travel. And some stones really facilitate that. People want to wear moldavite. I have lots of customers come to me asking for it. I don't even sell it because if you're really sensitive and you don't know it, it can take you places you don't want to go. So there's certain stones I'd recommend not taking into dream state, but certain stones are really helpful for dream state. Selenite, angelite, some of the more tender stones, rose quartz is a great one, blue lace agate, those are stones I know, chalcedony, really gentle stones. Leopard skin jasper is another one, a great one to take to dream state. So if you have questions, let me know and we can dialogue about this in the Facebook group. When you choose what you take into dream state, you're asking for specific kinds of guidance. So each of those gems, think of it as them unlocking a door. And so you're kind of choosing what door you want to unlock. If I have, clients or customers or friends who are wanting to understand more about love relationships, well, that's where I would say put your rose quartz in your pillowcase and then see what comes to you in dreams, and journal so that you can keep track. Journal first thing in the morning when you wake up, and then reflect on those every week and see what you're getting. Okay, the third way to work with your gems is as medicine. And this is my own personal medicine bag. It's got a little rose on the front. Probably looks exactly like what you thought my medicine bag would look like. But when I travel with my stones, this is how I travel. I really recommend that you have a medicine bag. And I don't want to pretend to tell you what I think that should look like. And I've got all kinds of stuff in here. I don't keep too careful a track of what's in my medicine bag unless I'm using it for something very specific right then. But I have certain ones that are always in there. I always keep copper in my medicine bag. It's not a gemstone, it's a metal, but copper for me, I have circulatory problems, and so I find that it really helps with circulation. So I always have copper around me, and I meditate with copper. I always have garnet with me. I know you guys are big garnet fans too, so that's a great one. I always have tangerine quartz around me. Tangerine quartz facilitates psychic connection. I always have lapis. I really connect with lapis, and I know some of you do too. It's the queen stone. It's the stone of royalty. Actually, in ancient Egypt, nobody was allowed to own lapis except for Cleopatra when during her reign. It was exclusively her property, and she had it ground to make eyeliner. It gives you a sense of what she must have looked like with her makeup on. But in any case, this is my medicine bag. I recommend that you have one, and I take this to gem shows. I know some of you have told me you're getting ready to go to gem shows. I take my medicine bag with me, and I don't take their packaging when I buy a stone. I immediately put it into my medicine bag. So that's one thing to think about. And if you want to know, the woman who made this for me, she custom made it, but she has an Etsy shop, and she's awesome. I have no interest in helping her sell bags, but I'll tell you, I've looked everywhere for medicine bags, and hers are the highest quality. So let me know in the Facebook group if you want the connection to her shop, and I'll link to it. Okay, so gemstones as medicine, and then the last way I use stones is in my oils, and I make elixirs too. And so if you've gotten oils from me before, they always have gemstones in the bottom that correspond. And so you don't need me to do this for you. The oils that you blend and use at home, even with my kids when they were little, I would make them like a diaper rash oil, and I would put gemstones in it. And so I always buy bottles that I know will be able to fit a gemstone through the cap. I keep gemstones in my facial toner. I keep mookaite jasper and rose quartz in my facial products because those are the anti-aging stones. So perhaps you can take it too far, but I do use gemstones in almost everything. I keep a gemstone in my, jar of honey. I had it out for my daughter last night because she was coughing, and I thought, there's even a gemstone in my honey. So if you look around my house, you'll see them everywhere. I'm reading your comments a little bit while I'm going. Okay, So what I want to do is focus on that one tonight, that one method, and we're going to do a meditation in just a minute. Before we do the meditation, I want to do just a quick reading of the group's stones that you chose. I don't know if you had a chance to look at this list, but I mentioned on Facebook in our group, it really does tell a story about us, the 3 that each of us chose. And I wanted to share with you too that when I created the Sabbatical group set with the Gemstone set, it was really intentional. There were a lot of stones in that set. It's probably the biggest set I've ever created for the store, but I chose them really intentionally. And what I noticed as I went through and I circled the common stones, which ones everybody seemed to be choosing in common. The most common of the list was citrine, which is for wealth and abundance. Makes sense that we would choose that one. And I'm seeing some of the questions. I'll come back to them toward the end, like about using particular stones for, or not using particular stones if we're using them in skin oil. So I'll come back to that question. I know some of you are having technical difficulties. If other people are experiencing those too, if you wouldn't mind putting a comment about how you're getting around them. There shouldn't be more than one ad. So if you're seeing multiple ads, I apologize for that, and I'm not quite sure how to address it. It didn't happen before, so. Anyway, if you are able to help each other with that in the moment, that would be great, and then I'll look into it for next time. Hopefully it's not locking up too much. Okay, so citrine for abundance. A lot of people chose peacock ore, which doesn't surprise me either. Now peacock ore is also called borite, and you'll hear different things about peacock ore from different people. It does make your fingers really dirty. I work with it a lot, and I'll look down and my hands are just black. But a lot of people call peacock ore the witch's stone. In old lore, people would say that that's a shape-shifting stone, that it allows you to take different forms, and that it's for dark magic. That's not really how I see peacock ore. I do think it's a magic stone, so I would call it more the magician stone. But in any case, it really, for me, it raises my vibration, and when I combine peacock ore with labradorite, that's the best possible combination for me for personal power. If I want to choose 3 for personal power, it's always peacock ore, labradorite, and lapis. Like, those are my 3 go-to stones. If I'm having a really tough meeting or something really stressful coming up, I will choose those 3 in terms of raising personal power. So labradorite, moonstone. Moonstone is the stone of the full moon. Labradorite is the stone of the new moon. So you've got both of the moon phases covered there. Kyanite, we've already talked about kyanite in the group quite extensively. Kyanite balances all the chakra points. So, and black kyanite clears other stones. So those are 2 workhorse stones. Black tourmaline, I can't get enough of it. I've had people tell me they can't handle black tourmaline, that it's too grounding. That hasn't been my experience. Black tourmaline is very protective. I find it just very soothing to have black tourmaline around. I put black tourmaline inside the 4 corners of my house, and at the 4 corners of my property I bury it. It is protective. People will tell you that black tourmaline in your car prevents theft and auto accidents. So there's some in my car. Whether you choose to follow that or not, I don't know. I had somebody in the Soul Lodge group who was having trouble with security around her house, and we just kind of recommended that she grid her house, and she didn't have any additional problems. So I've seen it work for people and make them feel really grounded and protective. Lots of quartz. Amethyst, amethystos in Greek means, if I'm recalling this correctly, means drunk or drunkenness, and it's meant to be the sobering stone. So if you're trying to, curb an addiction of any kind, amethyst is your stone. Part of the magical sabbatical experience is to curb your addiction to things that aren't serving your highest good. And so, again, it was very intentional for me to put amethyst in the sabbatical set. No surprise that most of you have chosen amethyst, or would have chosen amethyst as one of your top 5 stones for this experience, because you're trying to pull yourself toward your highest good and wean yourself from those things that aren't serving you. Carnelian, like, who doesn't need energy? if we're going to do soul work, we have to be really energized, and carnelian just does that. So again, no surprise that everybody's choosing that. Amazonite is the stone of the throat chakra and the stone of finding your voice. And so that was another really thoughtful choice on my part to include in this set. And again, no surprise that as we seek to find our voice and give our stones a voice to speak to us, and really take more assertiveness or more authority in our interpersonal relationships, Amazonite is key for that transition. So happy to see that. Garnet is the stone of divine flow, and so as we try to get into that flow and really be connected to our vital selves and also just to our purpose in life, garnet is an incredible channel for that. And then finally, a lot of rose quartz coming up for people. So I'm going to quickly tell you, I'm going to read off each of your names and tell you what stones came up for you today in the reading. And I hope you'll find this fun. And again, I'm seeing comments about the broadcast and so forth. So hopefully you guys are getting some resolution around that. I apologize. Okay. So again, this is going to be really quick. The reading was much longer. So if you want more information about what came through for you, for me, when I selected your stone, just let me know and I'll talk to you more about that. So for Jen, it was fluorite. For Kate, it was hematite. And this is Kate Lamontagne. For Nicole, it was orange calcite. For Laura, it was rose quartz. For Christine P., it was howlite. For Christine K., it was rose quartz. For Jen, it was turquoise. For Zan, it was orange calcite. For Lindsay, it was tiger's eye. For Kate Wheeler, it was apatite. And it was green apatite, not blue apatite. For Nicole Swartz, it was clear quartz. For Trish, it was amber. For Marissa, it was rose quartz. For Amanda, it was green jade, very specifically green jade. For Mandy Smith, it was apophyllite. For Jenny T., it was emerald. For Becky, it was obsidian. For Jenny, it was also obsidian. Jenny Hepler-Takins. For Kitty, it was zoisite. For Pamela, it was smoky quartz. For Megan, it was howlite. For Beth, it was aventurine. For Amy, it was angelite. For Angie, it was citrine. For Kelly, it was amazonite. For Kelly C., I should say. There were two Kellys. For Denise, it was two stones. For you, Denise Campbell, chrysoprase and selenite. And I'm telling you that because two cards fell out for you. That didn't happen for anybody else. For Miranda, it was jasper. For Danette, it was chrysoprase. For Roxanne, it was lepidolite. For Toy, it was rose quartz. For Teresa, it was turquoise. For Lori Lynn, it was apatite, and in this case, it was blue apatite. For Solveig, it was obsidian. For Violet, it was hematite. For Sharon, it was red jasper. For Jane, it was hematite. For Rose, it was obsidian. For Kellyanne, it was kyanite. For Kelly Scanlon, it was manganese calcite. For Erica, it was carnelian. For Melissa, it was emerald. For Ray, it was aquamarine. And Jen is asking me which one was for you. Jen, yeah, I didn't articulate well. Jen, it was turquoise for you, Jen White. So Ray is aquamarine. Stephanie, it was jasper. Danielle, it was orange calcite. Mary, it was tourmalinated quartz. So Mary, very, very specific for you, was tourmalinated quartz. For Paula, it was angelite. For Karen, it was sodalite. For Luz, it was citrine. For Marissa, it was lepidolite. Did I have you twice on here, Marissa? I may have. In which case, you have two stones, Marissa, rose quartz and lepidolite. I may have drawn for you twice. For Katie, it was clear quartz. For Shelley, it was amber. So no, didn't miss your name, Shelley. And then for Tracy, it was obsidian. If I missed anybody, let me know. I think I got everybody, but that was really fun. Now, let's do a reading of what just came through really quickly, and then we're going to do our meditation. What I got from pulling cards for everybody in this group and really sitting with what came through, there were some themes there. There was a lot of rose quartz, and you're really welcome. It was a lot of fun for me to pull all those. A lot of rose quartz, and I noticed a lot of obsidian, a lot of hematite. And Violet, I did have you. Let me just pull it up. If you didn't hear your name, just let me know, and I'm happy to read your name again. Violet, you were hematite. You were one of my girls who needed to be grounded. So, you know, it's interesting, right? Because when you think about the duality of rose quartz and obsidian and hematite, what that tells me, that combination of stones, to me is about the word integration. You know, it's integrating the love and that peaceful, gentle energy with the grounding and the protection of obsidian and hematite. When I think about what you women are bringing into this experience right now, it's a desire for that integration. It's the desire for the integration of light and shadow, right? I mean, a lot of you are struggling with this. You know, and it's a lifelong challenge. I'm still struggling to integrate, and I've been doing shadow work for a long time. And so really trying to, it's always that alignment between wanting to dig in and do the spiritual work and really still wanting to find that right balance and feel grounded and protected. So it was interesting. When this is our collective, like this is my you. I sit and meditate with you guys every morning, and there's a rose quartz in here for every one of you. At the end of the experience, I'm going to be mailing one of these rose quartz stones to each of you as a thank you for being with me. And so I've kept you on my altar space for weeks now. And as each of you entered, each one of these stones is specific to you. And so you think about just even that process of when I started to gather you, I felt like you were each these rose quartz stones, these sort of tender, loving beings. But what do I have sitting right next to it? Like the world's largest chunk of black tourmaline. So even in my own way of gathering you on my altar space, I have this tender bowl of lovingness sitting right next to, you know, as much sort of stone protection as I can amass. So in any case, it's interesting. We are that balance of light and dark. We are that balance of, you know, even early posts in this group. Remember when we were talking about, you know, but I was raised to believe differently than this, or I was raised to believe that, you know, this spiritual stuff isn't, you know, again, even like my experience, what good Christian girls do. And, you know, it's like integrating what we know about spirituality and really honoring our authentic practice. And recognizing that what we're drawn to in this life spiritually has a lineage way beyond this particular soul experience that we're having in this lifetime. And can we honor that? And not just honor it for ourselves, but hold that space for each other, for the next generation and our children, and those, you know, children whose lives we influence. Can we do that? I think it's really our job. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed that. I loved seeing you gather your 3 stones, and I loved reading for you. So a big hug back to all of you too. Okay, so for the next few minutes, I want to do a quick meditation. I'm going to pull us out of it. It's only going to be about 5 minutes. When I do these quick meditations, and tonight's kind of light, I'm not taking us anywhere to meet guides. Doesn't mean you won't meet a guide, but that's not my intention with this meditation. My intention with this meditation is to get you to focus on a stone, and then I'm going to have you anoint that stone and charge it. Okay, and that's going to take us to the top of the hour, and then I'll close the circle. I can stay here until, you know, a quarter after, so I'll take questions and answers, but I just want you guys to know that that's kind of my plan for the next 10-15 minutes or so. So I hope you picked your one. Do you have your one stone? I know how hard it is. I have mine, and so this is a big old chunk of danburite. And actually, I just made a medicine bundle for one of you today. I don't know if I'm allowed to out who it was, but I made a medicine bundle for one of you today, and I put danburite in it. I've never done that before. That stone practically jumped out of my tray to get into that medicine bundle. It was a very rare experience, and you know who you are. And I sent it with love, but it's a really rare stone, and in any case, that's the one I'm holding. So I want you to take your stone that you've chosen that you want to communicate with. I want you to put it in your non-dominant hand. And I want you to close your hand all the way around that stone. And again, you know, pull yourself in. We're still in that circle of white light. Still feel yourself radiating that light around you. Totally cool, by the way, Angie, that you chose that stone with your pendulum. Like, you know, when in doubt and you're having a hard time making a decision, let the pendulum decide. I do that a lot. So that's actually a great way to choose. So hold the stone in your non-dominant, sit straight up, feel that radiating, pulsing white light still coursing around the circle with us. And take just a couple of really deep cleansing breaths. We don't have to breathe together, but make sure you are breathing. And I want you to be open now. Stones communicate to us in different ways. Stones can communicate to us by implanting images in our mind as we work with them. Stones can communicate to us with a really subtle, quiet voice. Stones can communicate to us with a feeling. So some of you will have told me that you've gone to buy gemstones and you just feel like a stone isn't right for you. That's a feeling that you're getting. So that's called clairsentience, when you get a clear feeling. Clairvoyance is clear sight, you're seeing something. Clairaudience is clear hearing, so you hear something. Just be open to the fact that stones communicate with different people in different ways. And some stones communicate with me differently than other stones do. So you just don't know until you start to work with a stone. My intention for this process the next few minutes is that you're going to develop a really special relationship with the stone that you're holding in your non-dominant hand right now. And what I want you to do is feel it in your palm, and I want you to just sense whether it feels warm to you, cold in your hand. Just a tactile sense of how does that stone feel in your hand. Does it fit well in your palm? Are the edges rough? Find a way of holding that stone right now that's really comfortable to you so that it feels good in your hand. And now I want you to imagine that there is a line that's connecting that stone all the way from where it is in your palm up your arm. Just really imagine a line, almost a physical line, up to your heart chakra, so right through to your heart. From your heart chakra up to your third eye, to your crown chakra. And I really want you to imagine that you're opening that line of communication from that stone all the way through your solar plexus chakra, up through your heart chakra, up through third eye and crown. And I want you to open up that line. And I want you to tell that stone, you can say it out loud or you can just sort of say it quietly in your mind, that you're creating a space now for that stone to tell you its message for you. So I'm giving you a voice, Danbarite, naming my stone, to tell me why you've chosen me and I've chosen you to be in dialogue right now. And I'm going to give you a minute or two here, and I want you to listen, both for a sound, for a feeling, for an image or a vision. If nothing comes to you now, it's okay. It might come to you later. So be patient with yourself. Don't force it. And just see what you feel with this stone for the next minute or 2 minutes. I don't know about you, but I feel like I don't want to put my stone down. An ack, Beth. I don't like that there was an ad during your meditation. Boo. I'm going to see what I can do about that, so bear with me. Okay, I want you to now open your palm. I want you to thank that stone, the spirit of that stone, the vibration of that stone for being willing to commune with you. And again, its message may come to you later. Really curious though to hear about it in the group, which stone you chose, what came to you or didn't come to you. My Danburite said, you're a light bearer. So that was kind of a nice message. It gave me a little visual too of like a little woman with a torch. So I don't know. Very few people in my life tell me I'm a light bearer, so it's always nice to hear something like that, even if it comes from a gemstone. I'll take it, Danburite. So I'm curious what your stone said to you as well. So I want you to now imagine that you're going to pull that line back in. Whenever you extend a line of energy, you always have to retrieve it. It's really important. It's part of closing the process down so that you don't stay so open to energy. A lot of you have been asking in the group, like, how do I protect myself from energies of other people? When you are in a circle and there's energy radiating like this, we have to close it down. Otherwise, it just stays open and it draws a lot of other energies to it. And some of those are not always positive, so that's why we close it down. So pull that light back now from crown chakra through third eye and through heart chakra and solar plexus and down into your arm, and allow it to kind of reel back into the gemstone. And again, just giving thanks and gratitude for that information. And so what I want to do really quickly, I know we're also almost at our time. If you have your anointing oil with you, I just want you to take one drop of your oil and just touch it to your gemstone, whichever oil you choose. I chose manifestation oil because that just was speaking to me today, but whatever that is. And just close your eyes for a second, and again, just giving thanks and communing with that stone, promising to come back to that stone and continue that conversation and that dialogue, and letting that stone know if it has other messages for you that you're open to receiving. And it's an energetic connection. Sometimes I'll touch my third eye too, just to let that stone know that I'm open to that communion. It's just leaving a physical imprint with that gem, especially if you keep your oils on your altar space, which I really recommend. They're charged with the energy of your altar space, and then it goes back into back where you're going to let that reside. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that, and what I'm going to do is just close our circle now. Certainly there are 1,000 more things I could tell you about gemstones. I do want to show you quickly what we're going to be doing next week in the craft. I'm going to have you do what I call a chakra line, and so I want you to prepare. This is literally a chakra line. I have a stone on this selenite wand that represents every chakra point. It doesn't have to be that complete if you don't have all of the rainbow colors that represent each of the chakra points. And you don't have to have selenite. So a couple of other ways you can do this activity. You're just going to be gluing gemstones onto some other platform so that you can create something that's going to balance chakra points. I got this bag of driftwood at Joann. I think it was like $2 or $3. I'm going to glue some gemstones onto these little pieces of driftwood because that feels good and right to me. I also do this sometimes with other larger pieces of, this is grapevine that you can attach gems to, and then that can be on your altar space. If you want to use any other kind of material, you could even attach your stones to an abalone shell. Something natural feels good. It'd be really cool if you had Palo Santo if you wanted to attach your stones to that, but I'm going to walk you through the exact steps of how to do this. And I'm going to post for you tomorrow night a list of supplies that you might want to get if you want to do this in terms of the adhesive that I recommend, because in all my years I've only found one adhesive that works, and it's cheap and it's readily accessible. So anyway, more to come on chakra lining next week. Okay, so I'm going to have you just sit nice and tall once more with us. We're going to close out the circle. Hands on your knees with your palms facing up. And And it's hard to do when we're in this space because it feels so good to be here. I just really want to express my gratitude to all of you for being here with me in this sabbatical group. It feels so right. It feels like every single one of you just was so meant to be here. And I'm really grateful for the time and the space and your energy to be able to create this for us together. I really do love each and every one of you. I hope you know that. So I want you to stay with your palms open, and what you're going to do is visualize yourself releasing, letting go of that white circle beam of light that we connected to and with each other earlier in the call. I'm going to have you visualize letting go of it with your right hand and having it leave your right hand and enter the left hand of the woman who is virtually holding your hand. And then imagine it leaving her left hand, going through her body into her right hand, and again, we're just releasing it around the circle and around the world. And always as you release, our intention is that we are releasing the energy in this circle, we give thanks for it, and we now release it to go and do its work. And we ask, in whatever way you want to, Great Spirit, God, we ask that the intentions that we've placed into these stones, by choosing them, that we now release those intentions to go do their work in the world, to start this shift, to help us release what isn't serving us, to step into that full vital part of ourselves that we need to be aligned with. And just imagine that energy that we're releasing, it's just flowing freely out into the world now. It's flowing to the people that we're in relationship with, it's flowing to the projects that we're working on. All of it for our highest good and the highest good of those who are connected to us. Just letting go. And keep breathing. And when you're ready, just open your eyes. And as you're sort of coming to and allowing that energy to disperse, if you missed anything, this whole experience tonight has been recorded, so you can watch back. I know, Amanda, I can see that you missed the chakra wand craft quick mention, and I'm going to be doing an entire video this week. You'll be getting it on Wednesday that walks you through exactly how to do it, and then tomorrow night in the Facebook group I'm going to put the instructions for what you need to gather if you want to do this, really leaving it open. You can attach them to a smudge wand or a feather. Trish, I see your question, but just keep in mind that, you know, if you're going to, you know, use your smudge fan and you're going to burn it through, that, you know, that's obviously, it won't be something permanent. If you want to affix it to another gemstone, like I see this black tourmaline wand that I have has a flat enough surface where I could attach them here. Just be thinking about the kind of surface it is, and then I'll talk to you about adhesives that are good for that. So grateful for all of you. I'm going to stay on for a few more minutes and just see if you have any questions that I can answer. Really happy to do that. And like I said before, we'll continue the dialogue into the private Facebook group. But I know there's more ads coming. I promise we'll get some resolution to that, and I'll let you know in the Facebook group how we're addressing that. Okay, so Teresa, I see that your orange calcite showed you a donkey and you heard harvest. Yeah, I'll have to look into that too. So many people pulled orange calcite that I actually brought a piece of it into my altar area tonight. What they say about people who are drawn to orange calcite is that they're psychic, that only psychics and intuitives are drawn to orange calcite. So for those of you I pulled that for, you know, there's a message for you there. Love that about Frida Kahlo, Angie. That's beautiful, showing you the sunset. And blessings right back to you. You're so welcome, everybody. I'm really glad that you enjoyed this experience. I've been really sick all week, so I was worried I wasn't going to be able to be with you tonight. I'm really glad I did. I knew the energy boost would be good for clearing out my cold. And I know some of you are sick too, so I just send lots of loving blessings to you. I've got Jasper on the altar space too, which is the ultimate healing stone. So yes, if you want more information about the stones that came through in your reading, just send me a message, and we can also dialogue in the Facebook group. Each of those gemstones has an affirmation. If you don't own this book already, you need to. Like, if gemstones are your thing, this is the one book. Of all of the books that have ever been published, I think I own them all. There's also Love is in the Earth, which is another great reference book too, but this one's really, really special. Yeah, so Jen, to your point about aluminum or elements that are too much for oils. Certain stones I don't add, and it's, I don't put copper, I don't put turquoise for the most part into oils or lotions. I don't put peacock ore into oils or lotions. Those are just the ones that I know. Malachite, malachite's actually a really dangerous stone. You don't want to ever interact with malachite if it's in a ground form or if there's any possibility of it shredding. Now, on the reverse side of that, lepidolite, actually, when you grind it, becomes a powdered form of lithium. And so people have actually deliberately put ground lepidolite into water and made an elixir to drink it to treat depression. So in any case, certain elements are great for oils, very intentionally used in elixirs in ground form, and some of them are not safe. If you have questions, let's talk about it, and I can also refer you to some resources for that too. Yes, labradorite told you to lay on a cloud that is sunburst behind it and to float over a river. Labradorite's the magician stone. I mean, that's another one too. When I talked about those power three of lapis, labradorite, and peacock ore, labradorite is a stone of the dark moon. To me, it's one of the most intense stones you can own in a collection. So whenever I do dream state meditation with labradorite, I always have really wild dreams. Sometimes I choose to have that, and so, but as long as you know that if you're putting labradorite in your pillowcase, no guarantees about what kind of dreams you might have. But it will open you to the, it's one of the gatekeeper stones to shadow work. And so if you're interested in doing that work, and we can talk about it in this group, it's not part of my explicit plan right now, but I've actually thought about teaching an entire course on shadow work. And so in any case, we can talk about that, but it is one of what they call the gatekeeper stones to shadow spirit work. Malachite is what got you researching it. Yeah, it's dangerous stone, and so I just would avoid. I use malachite in medicine all the time. I mean, in stone medicine, but you just have to be really sure that it's polished and that it's intact, because if the integrity of it is compromised at all and it's powdered, it's actually really dangerous. Jen has a toxic stone list, it looks like. So yeah, if you could find that and share it with us, that'd be a great resource for us too. Any other questions here? Let's see. Thank you for the warm wishes, and yes, lots of healing energy to everybody in the group. Okay. Love and blessings to you guys. I will see you in the Facebook group. Have a wonderful evening. I hope this has been a great experience for you. And yeah, we'll talk about it soon. Aventurine, just want to say really quickly, Beth, I'm glad you brought this up. It is an incredible healing stone. Of all the healing stones, and so when I have someone who's physically ill, Fuchsite, Fuchsite, is a stone that I use when people are gravely ill. That's the stone of the life force. And so when people are near death, that's a really powerful stone to offer them. Smoky quartz is a stone that you can use to transmute energies. And so if people are having, if people have cancer, for example, and they're going through chemotherapy, it can actually transmute the energy of really severe treatments like that. Red jasper and aventurine are healing stones. Red jasper is more, it's a softer healing stone. It's a more gentle healing stone. It's also more of a spiritual or soul healing stone. Aventurine is a physical healing stone. And so if you want more information about that, let me know. But it's there's a whole spectrum of ways that you can use stones for healing. And then there's very specific things. Somebody in the group talked to me about pituitary, thymus, lymph gland treatments, and so forth. And there's very specific stones for very specific illnesses, and I certainly would be happy to help you with that. Okay. Yes, so go through all the energy movements again, go through the meditations again if you rewatch. If you want to slow down and have a more intentional experience, pause it and really let yourself sit with the stone for as long as feels good to you. And keep dialoguing. If you're not seeing the imagery, if you're not feeling the connection, that can be really normal. Just let yourself be with what's coming and resist the tendency or the temptation to judge yourself or the experience, because it will come in time. Just be really open to what's available right now. Okay. Love you guys. I'm going to sign off. I will see you in the Facebook group. Bye.